ancient Arabia precedes and predates the arrival of Abraham, Hagar, and Ishmael by many millennia. The blessed arrival and subsequent settlement of Abraham's family in Mecca marks an important and monumental distinction between Arabia's prehistoric and classic epochs. In fact, Arab history and ancestry in general is divided into two distinct phases, beginning with what is referred to commonly as the era and epoch of Al-Arab al-Ba'ida, a close translation of which is the perished Arabs. These peoples are generally considered to have been the first Arabs in the history of mankind, although they are no longer in existence, since all traces and connection to their primordial history and civilizations have been destroyed and effaced. The Quran recounts and references a number of stories and studies into the ancient Arab peoples, furnishing its reader with the names of civilizations, towns, and empires whose mighty inhabitants once flourished in prehistoric times, but were then eventually annihilated for their decadent and transgressive ways. Civilizations such as those of Al-Ad, Al-Thamud, Qasam, Al-Amalika, and Jadis were all part of the ancient tapestry of Arabian heritage and history. Al-Arab al-Ba'ida were subsequently replaced by a new breed of Arabs, commonly referred to as Al-Arab al-Baqiya, a close translation of which the remaining Arabs. Al-Arab al-Baqiya can be distinguished into two subcategories. They are the Qahtaniyun and the Adnaniyun. The Qahtanites are also known as Al-Arab al-Ariba and are generally celebrated for the purity of their lineage through an unbroken ancestral chain that connects them back to the earliest Arabs who resided in the southern reaches of the Arabian Peninsula. Qahtanites attribute their heritage and ancestry back to a common patriarch whose name was Ya'rub bin Yasjub bin Qahtan, and who is sometimes reported to have been the descendant of the Prophet Noah through his son Shem, himself reputed for being the father of all Semitic people. Ya'rub, whose real name was Muhzam and is oftentimes confounded with the Arabian prophet, Prophet Hud, or maybe one of his brothers or relatives, was the patriarch of the two most prominent dynasties and empires within the southern reaches of Arabia, namely the Saba'itic and the Himyaritic empires. The second group of existing Arabs are those who trace their ancestral origins back to the Prophet Ismail ibn Ibrahim through one of his many descendants, namely a man known as Adnan ibn Addad, who then becomes a progenitor and patriarch for the Adnanites, such as the Quraysh, Al-Hawazin, Al-Ghatafan, and Al-Thaqif, and the products of métissage between Prophet Ismail, who was of mixed Canaanite and Egyptian stock, and his Qahtani bride from the Himyaritic Arab tribe of Jurhum. Arabs, however, whose ancestry either originates beyond Arabia or has been mixed with foreign elements, are also known as Adnanites. However, a more precise term that is often employed by historians as scholars is Al-Arab al-Musta'ariba, the Arabized Arabs, a term that is encompassing of people whose various ethnic origins and cultural traits at some point came into contact with Islam or Arabic Muslims.
If you're enjoying this lecture and would like to learn more about the history of ancient Arabia in all of her glory, then you will love Civilis Arabica. This series of lectures is delivered as part of an annual history program for only £10 a month. In it, you'll be able to uncover 2,000 years of pre-Islamic history through an immersive and unique learning experience delivered exclusively through the official Historion app. As a Patreon member, you may register onto this program by selecting the essential tier available on the membership page for instant access to over 7 complete and unique courses ranging from the history of the Umayyad Kingdom through to the rise and fall of the empires of Mali and Abyssinia. You will then be granted access to 7 complete and individual courses. Subscriptions may be cancelled at any time, There are no minimum terms or commitments.